All right, welcome everybody on Tap New York Insiders. We're very happy to have you here today. We are getting an inside look at the China Institute and some great art exhibitions that they have there. Also using this as a prequel to get our in-person insiders also over to the China Institute, probably in the fall, hopefully. If you have any questions for our presenters today, they are going to introduce themselves in a moment. Please put them in the questions tab. As everybody pretty well knows by now, the questions tab is right next to the chat tab here on the chat bar. If you are having any problems with your visual quality or sound quality, just refresh the page. Livestorm gets you right back in. I'm also happy to report that this started without a problem today for those of you who joined me for MSG during that outage, which was very nerve-wracking. So hopefully that you guys are all, you're already saying hello. Hello, Jeffrey Bernard from the Upper West Side, Elliot from Las Vegas. Hello, Cynthia from Baltimore, Maryland, Sylvia from Woodside, Queens. Happy 77th birthday, Sylvia. So glad that you decided to spend a little time with us today on your 77th birthday. Hope that you enjoy this presentation. Hi, Pete from San Francisco. And Morbo from Pennsylvania. Hello, Robert Morbeck. Carmen wishes you a happy birthday, Sylvia, from Miami, Florida. So happy to have you all with us here today. I am going to turn it over to Jeremy Willinger, who is the Director of Marketing at the China Institute, who will start off the program and introduce everybody else. I will see you all later for Q&A. Jeremy, take it over. It's all you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Justin. So I just wanted to extend a huge welcome and hello, and for some folks, happy birthday to everyone here today. Before I turn it over to my colleague, I just want to tell you a little bit about the China Institute. So China Institute is a nonprofit, independent, educational focused institution that's been around since 1926. In fact, we are the first and oldest bicultural organization dedicated to China, to educating people about China in the U.S. In the country. We've always been a New York City institution, but since the pandemic, we've pivoted and now offer all of our many classes through our School of Chinese Studies online. Our summer program is starting July 12th, so there's classes in Tai Chi and Chinese language at all levels, poetry, literature, music. We have a wonderful Chinese art gallery through which we do programs like this, which opened in 1966 and was the first gallery dedicated to Chinese art in the U.S. And we also have a very robust public program schedule. And we do over 80 public programs per year in all sorts of topics about Chinese feminism and movies and business and fashion. And we are doing tonight and tomorrow night the last two programs of our Food and Ideas Festival, which bring together restaurateurs and historians and culture experts to really explore modern China through food. So a lot of great stuff happening at China Institute online and soon again in person. We are going to be reopening our doors to the public and re-welcoming everyone to an expanded space with a brand new auditorium, classrooms, and just greater facilities for programs in September. So we'll certainly look forward to welcoming you. You can sign up for our mailing list to find out more or join us online at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And now I'll turn it over to Ma Yue, who is my colleague and directs our Discover China Through Art program, through which today's activity is based, and which is a really interesting program that brings together groups to learn more about Chinese art. So let me remove myself here and turn it over to Ma Yue. And thank you again for all being here.
Thank you, Jeremy. Hello, everyone. My name is Yue Ma. I am the Art Education Manager of Discover China Through Art program at China Institute Gallery. I would like to give you a short introduction of our program. Discover China Through Art, DCTA, is China Institute's innovative art education program created in 1992. We introduce schools and the general public to Chinese art and culture through interactive docent-led gallery tours, accompanied by video presentations and hands-on art workshops. Since the pandemic, we developed a virtual program, which includes virtual tours and workshops. Just like our on-site tour, we do 3 activities: gallery talk, video presentation, and hands-on workshop through Zoom or Google platform. Each year, for DCT on-site tours and online services, we welcome about 100 groups, 3,000 to 5,000 participants from the New York metropolitan area and tri-state area and other states. The majority are K-12 students, as well as college, adults, and seniors. Thank you. Now I would like to turn it over to our senior educator docent, Ms. Lu.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lu. I'm here in Greenwich Village. Thanks to the modern technology, we're glad and thrilled to do this virtual tour with you to introduce this 5,000 years of Chinese culture through the China Institute's well-established gallery and museums. So the first one we want to show you, here are some highlights of our past exhibitions. And then I'm going to spend a little more time on our last exhibition, The Art of Mountain. But we're going to start with this, the past highlights. So the first slides that you're seeing is the last emperor's collections. So this is the painting that you're seeing here is a 10,000 years old pine tree. The evergreen stands for longevity in Chinese culture. So this work was made by the emperor as birthday gift to his mother. In the different workshops, we also have outreach workshops. It's called We All Live in the Forbidden City. We have a special workshop that just focus on the symbols of in Chinese paintings. So very often we use plants, animals like bats in Chinese culture. I know in the Western culture, bats is like this kind of scary, dark side of the culture. But in Chinese culture, because it's the same pronunciation as food, so like bats is a symbol of blessing, and we also have the plum flower as a symbol of perseverance, etc. So using nature elements as good wishes, whether it's plants, animals, mountains, or river, it's often embedded in the Chinese artwork. And this exhibition that you're seeing right now is called Along the Yangtze River. So we're seeing a really rare, the square rectangle vase. This vase displays a rare decorative elements, and it seems to be the only rectangular ding vessels that bears a human face motif. So this 62 excavated bronze presented the uniqueness and exotic customs of Hunan in the ancient era. We're talking about roughly 12th to 11th century BCE. So it's the Lei Shang dynasty. So this exhibition kind of showcased the 62 bronze that just excavated from Hunan. And Dunhuang, as most of you probably a little more familiar with this special kind of cave. Dunhuang is an oasis town strategically located in the western Gansu province and was once an important hub of east-west trade and China's gateway to the Silk Road. Established as a Chinese garrison in 111 BCE, it became a transit point for trading, diplomatic missions, monks going east to spread the Buddhist doctrine, and pilgrims going west to bring back Buddhist scriptures. So the religion, the culture, and intellectual idea of several different civilizations met, mixed, and left their trace in Dunhuang sacred cave shrines. So in this exhibitions, not only we show the ancient art, but we also, there's kind of contemporary artists who kind of get the inspiration from the Dunhuang art and create their artwork based on the inspirations. So we also have one room as called Inspired by Dunhuang. It has all this, if you look at the ceilings, there's paintings that kind of inspired by the Fei Tian, all the goddess who's flying and dancing in the sky. And they paint it on the ceiling so the viewer can sit down and really kind of, before the virtual reality is a thing, this is the closest experience you can get from kind of sitting in our museums and experience the Dunhuang cave. The next exhibition is called The Art in the Time of Chaos. So this exhibition is mostly artwork and paintings and rubbings that excavated from the sixth dynasty. Excavated recently. There's 113 newly excavated artwork in and it's the first show in the U.S. So it's consistent of celadon, sculpture, calligraphy, and paintings to trace back the essence of Chinese artistic traditions and aesthetic spirit. So sixth dynasty, to give you a rough idea, is from roughly 200 to 600 in China. So the period was marked by disunity, war, and chaos. The territories of what we call China today were controlled by many different regions with the Yangtze River acting as a natural border between south and north. Successive regions that ruled the territories south of Yangtze were Song and East Jin, so 6 different dynasties. That's why we call this period Sixth Dynasty. So 6 different kings ruled the regions. And one of the, so you can see the celadon sculptures that you see here is a group of musicians. And the one on the forefront, the musician is playing the ancient Chinese string instrument called zheng or guqin. And then the rubbing of the brick wall, like if you get to experience our real exhibitions, it's a whole wall of rubbing. And the title of this rubbing of a brick wall is called The 7 Sages of the Bamboo Grove. So a lot of kind of intellectual scholars, instead of going into politics, being politicians, they rather to just kind of gather in the natures. So there's also a really famous calligraphy, Wang Xizhi. He kind of wrote a beautiful, like maybe one of the most important and famous Chinese calligraphy work called Lan Ting Xu. It's all kind of produced in this Sixth Dynasty times. So artists, scholars, and they're just really longing for a peaceful life, and that they're one of the important, so we have Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism. And one of the most important religions out of these 3, the Taoism, is really kind of emphasize the human relationship with the natures and how kind of be one with the nature can bring the inner peace. And that's how people are longing for in this chaotic period time in Chinese history. Again, you get to see a little more of excavated artwork in this picture. A lot of buried kind of, we're going to talk about it in the next exhibitions, like the Chinese people believe in this kind of afterlife, the reincarnations. So a lot of sculpture are excavated from the tombs of the kings or lesser ranked like high officials. Like the car and the warriors to protect their next life. So it's a lot of sculpture excavated. So this exhibition, the next exhibition is called the dreams of the king. And this is a very interesting exhibition. So we want to show you a short video. Justin, if you can play the video now, so the audience get a more kind of sense of what this exhibition looked like. Okay, Justin, can you put the PowerPoint back on? Thank you. So as you can see, there's a lot of excavated art. The work, the sculpture is made by Jay. And in this exhibition, it has a very significant kind of, it's a exhibition that really shows it's the first time that shows the J suit in the US. So the J Barrett suit, which fully covered the body. And of course, there's a different kind of J suit. There's also the mask, but in the J suit that we show in this exhibition, it fully covered the body with jade tiles. So the suit was excavated in 1994 to 95 in Pengcheng and consists of 4,248 tiles, more than any other J suit discovered to date. One of the earliest ever made. So we're talking about roughly 175 BCE, was made back then, and it's bound with a rare gold thread, a signifier of the highest rank. According to the excavation record of tombs from the Chu kingdoms in the Western Han dynasty, only kings and queens of Chu used J suit with gold thread for their afterlife. Silver and copper threads were used For official, those are like lesser rank. So here you get to see kind of a full J suit. And Chinese people, since I mentioned, we kind of, it's embedded in the Chinese culture and in the religions about the afterlife. So one of the most stunning finds was elaborate kind of the barrel suit. As I mentioned, there's more than 4,000 piece of tiles, jade tiles. And so it really is a huge work to kind of reconstruct this jade tile, which they excavate from the tube. This kind of interesting when I look back at these exhibitions and how like people are talking about like reimagined, talking about the life and death like in the post-pandemic era. So I was thinking maybe I should include the J suit in my pension plan, kind of you know to echo this idea of afterlife and really hoping for a better kind of next life, putting hope in there. So the last exhibitions after this, the J suit, we're going to talk about the art of mountain, and this exhibition really is my favorite exhibition because it's not only it's contemporary art, but it's the artwork really echoed the essence of the Chinese traditions and the symbol of mountains. So in this exhibition, we're going to look at the 5 most sacred mountains in China in the 5 different locations: the east, the north, the south, and the west, and also the center. Located there, and also 3 most beautiful mountains that's been served as inspirations for Chinese artists, painters, calligraphers, that you saw some of the artwork that serve as the inspirations, the Huangshan, Yandangshan, and Lushan. So we're going to not only see photographs of those amazing mountains from in China, we also, on the second sections, we're going to look at what you're seeing here only by one photographer. So all the rest are kind of artwork from different photographers, but the second sections we dedicated to this particular photographer. His name is Wang Wusheng. I don't know if this artwork kind of reminds you of Ansel Adams' work. I used to study photography, and the first time when I saw this his artwork, the photographer Wang Wusheng, it just reminded me so much of Ansel Adams from the US. And so he spent pretty much all his life kind of taking picture and try to capture the essence and the beauty of Huangshan, the Yellow Mountains. We're going to see a map in the later PowerPoint. But before we start all this, and there's also the third sections, which is my favorite of the favorite, the cream of the cream, is the photographer who's trying to reconstruct using the traditional Chinese landscape paintings as inspirations again, but capture the issues of modern life, the environmental pollutions, and how the shift of human relationship with the nature really kind of create a huge impact for our natural world. So let's take a look at the video again. Justin, if you can put on the videos to give the viewer a sense of what our 3 rooms look like in this amazing exhibition. That would be wonderful. Thank you. Hi, Justin, do you mind put on the second PowerPoint on the art of the mountain? Thank you. Great. So as I mentioned, this is really my favorite exhibition so far. It's the, we have more than 70 photographers contribute to these exhibitions. So mountains in Chinese culture is really, we are in everyday object. We painted on the fan, the landscape paintings are really famous in the Chinese art histories. So it's really a very close relationship through the Chinese art that the artist is trying to bring all these beautiful natures into a daily life. And in the Western world, we have the Big Bang theories, how the universe was created. But in the Chinese myth, the world was created by this big giant. His name is Pangu. So it was dark, no suns, and one day he just decided he's gonna break out this dark cage, and then people get to see the sun and river and oceans and mountains. And after he died, his 5 part of his body become these 5 sacred mountains in China that holds up the skies. And so mountain is depicted as cosmic pillars that holds up the sky, which is from the body of this giant Pangu. And even in the earliest Chinese writings, so it's very different from the Western letters. We call Chinese writing as characters. So the early, one of the early Chinese character is kind of pictographical. So it's based on the shape of the object. So here you can probably, as you can see, how we write mountain is the shape of the mountains. And also river, rain, clouds, fish, tiger, dog, it's all based on the shape. So if you look at the ancient writing, we have 6 different styles. So kind of the writing system kind of transition from different dynasty until what we see in the contemporary Chinese writing. Which is slightly different, but you can still recognize if you study a little bit of the ancient writings. And mountain is also the home of a spirit and gods. So Chinese people believe there's spirits that lived on those mountains. And in one of the paintings that you see here on the right-hand corner is the emperor kind of riding the car that's driven by the dragons and go up to the mountains to pray to the heaven and earth and pray for the whole countries. So there's annual kind of rituals the emperor hold on the top of the mountains. And it's also a great retreat. Like we mentioned in one of the early exhibitions from the 6th dynasty, you see a lot of great paintings. And the painting that you see here is probably one of the most famous one called Chihlan Lu, Travelers in the Mountains and Streams. So for the Chinese scholars and artists, depicting the essence of the mountain is always the major artwork and achievement of their lifetimes. So this is one of the most famous Chinese landscape paintings. This one that you see here, but there's a lot of Chinese landscape paintings, and they also serve as the inspirations for the contemporary artists, how to kind of redefine the essence and beauty of Chinese landscape painting through their contemporary artwork. So here you get to see a little bit of the kind of a rough location of this 5 sacred mountains. So we have the one on the east, which is also the most famous one, called Taishan, and the one on the west called Huashan is famous for its kind of religious practice. And Taishan is kind of the more kind of important political and kind of, it holds a very important place in every dynasty. The emperor goes there to kind of hold this spiritual and rituals kind of ceremonies. And then we also have the one on the south, Hengshan, and one on the north is Hengshan, but it's different characters. And then we have the one in the center is Songshan, and Songshan is famous for its Shaolin Temple. So if you've seen a lot of like Chinese Kung Fu, you know like a very important school of Chinese martial art, the Shaolin Kung Fu, started from the Shaolin Temple, because the temple is so powerful that eventually when the country is in need of army, they would recruit those monks to protect the countries. So the Songshan is famous as a lot of, even with Shaolin temples, Wudang temples, they're all kind of located in these famous mountains. And then we also have 3 famous mountains that's kind of famous for its beauty. Huangshan, which we're gonna, our second area of exhibition is this, as I mentioned, famous photographer Wang Wushen dedicated all his life trying to capture the beauty of Huangshan. And his famous word is, once you've been to Huangshan, there's no need to go see other mountains. You've seen the most beautiful ones. And we also have Lushan and Yandangshan. And those are the red dots on the map. So we're going to dive into a little more details about the significant kind of status of Taishan in Chinese culture. So it is the tallest mountains on China's east coast, and it will be the first to greet the rising sun. So emperor of successive dynasty came here to hold rituals to honor heaven and earth. So the first carved stone inscription on Mountain Taishan was left by the first emperor of China, Qin Shi Huang, around the 3rd century BCE. Since then, numerous engravings on rocks and cliffs have been added to emperors, scholars, and high priests of Buddhism and Taoism. So this one is kind of the character here is Wu Yue Du Zun, and there's another famous one is called Guo Tai Ming An, which is it's carved by the Emperor Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor in Chinese history who united the whole China. And Guo Tai Ming An means may the country be as stable as Mountain Taishan, so people can live a peaceful life. And so this is a very, as I mentioned, important kind of political landscape in the Chinese history, as almost all the emperor will come here to host a special ritual. And we also have Huangshan, the Yellow Mountains, on this map. And Huangshan is known the loveliest mountain of China, acclaimed through arts and literature during a good part of Chinese history. So there's 4 wonders of Mountain Huangshan, which is called Huangshan Sijue. They're famous. Huangshan is famous for its pine tree, its majestic peaks and unique rocks, the Sea of Clouds, Yunhai, and the hot spring, Wenquan. But Huangshan is also, it's so pretty, its way, you can just go there and really experience the power of nature and the beauties and the peaceful atmospheres. So finally, we're coming to this, the second section's, this famous photographer Wang Wushen's exploring the aesthetics of Chinese landscape paintings through the capturing like the black and white photography, trying to capture the beauty of Huangshan, but also the essence of Chinese landscape paintings. So he was born in 1945 and beginning in 1974, started photographing Mountain Huangshan, the Yellow Mountains, and spent over 40 years on this subject. So why do we call the aesthetics in photography, kind of the landscape aesthetic in photography for these sections? That his photography, his way of trying to capture is really inspired by the traditional Chinese landscape paintings, the black and white landscape paintings, and also the idea of the Taoism, the qi, which is the inner energy, and also, you know, the yin and yang. You can see the kind of the black and white photographs. It's more of trying to capture that inner energy of the mountains. And in this photograph, you see the mountaintop kind of floating on the sea of clouds. So this is the next photographer is trying to kind of capture the beauty of one of the 3 most beautiful mountains. This is the Yandangshan. And this is the rooftop of the world, one of the mountains in the Tibetan Plateau. And these photographs, we also have a whole series of photographs that is focused on the Mount Everest and some of the sacred mountains in Tibetan culture. And this is all the way on the west, the Kunlun Shan. So that's where we believe the Mother West of the Queens reside. And this mountain is called the Langya Shan, the Wolf Tooth Mountains. This is called the Peach Blossom Colony. And so here comes the third sections of this exhibition, The Art of Mountains. And photographer, they are using the digital tools to reconstruct their artwork based on the ancient landscape paintings. And this story is one of the early stories that trying to kind of depict the utopian, the Chinese people's idea of utopian. The stories is written by this famous novelist and artist Tao Yuanming. It's called Peach Blossom Spring, 桃花源记. And the story goes this like the fisherman, he got lost in the woods, and then he followed the streams and go into the village. And the people in the village just look very happy. They're self-sufficient. They don't interact with the outside world, and nor do they have a hierarchical government trying to control their life. And people just kind of, it's a community that help each others without the governments. And so he was fascinating by, you know, the life, the happy life here. He stayed for a couple weeks but started to think, oh, maybe his family is the fisherman's family is gonna start worry about him. So he told the villagers thanks them for, letting him stay, but he's gonna now go back to his own village. And the village from the peach blossom told him that please do not tell everybody, share the secret or locations of this village, because they do not want to interact with the outside world. So the fisherman promised, and then he went back to his own village, and surprisingly find out his wife, his son, they're all older than he is, and he was. And then so it turned out that few weeks that he stayed in the village was several tens of years in the outside world, and people was really surprised to find out that he's still alive, and definitely want to know what's the secret, where he went, and how to keep himself young. And he couldn't, first he refused to tell the secret because he thought he promised the villagers that he would never share the secret. But then the king was after him and trying to kill him if he doesn't share the secret. So at the end, he gave in, and then trying to bring the troop and the villagers from his village to go find the peach blossom village, but there's nowhere to be found. So this become, as I mentioned, kind of the first kind of utopian stories, how people are longing for the life, a peaceful life, just be with the natures. So this is the stories of peach blossom spring. But in this artwork, and the artists also have, other than having exhibition in the China Institute, he also have exhibition with Metropolitan Museum. His artwork tend to be really large scales, and so you can really see the details of the mountains. And it really, I don't know if you can see a little bit of the details here. You can see the machinery in the front, and also the mountain was all constructed by the crane and kind of constructions, the wireless, the wire poles and electric poles, all these modern elements completely cover up the mountains. And also a beautiful village, and now it's also all kind of colonized by the modern machines and constructions. So in this section, the artist is, in this photograph, is called Return to the Mountains, and the artists, they just kind of use the animals, the dead animals' bodies, and bring the specimens back to the mountains and kind of bring them back to their own homes, and trying to kind of give warnings about the extinction species, and how like the hunting's being kind of out of control. So a lot of species are really in a great dangers. And again, this is another kind of replications of the traditional landscape paintings, but now all you can see is, instead of beautiful mountains and water and rivers, it's now human debris and destructions of the natures. So this the exhibition of Art of a Mountain is the artist not only trying to capture the beauties and the essence of Chinese landscape and the mountains, but they're also trying to provide the kind of a reality check how much destructions the humans bring to the mountains. So it's very powerful. Of course, in the Western world, we have the Greta Thunbergs, the Friday for Futures, and Extinction Rebellions. They're trying to kind of provide scientific facts and use all kind of social media trying to kind of awaken people the environmental crisis that we're facing right now. But in these exhibitions, Chinese artists, through the traditional landscape paintings, recreate the modern scenes of what the environmental crisis that we're facing in China right now. So I thought it's a very powerful and relevant exhibition that China Institute has really put on a great show in these exhibitions. Okay, I think this is pretty much at the end of my presentation. We're gonna leave the rest of the times about 8 to 10 minutes for Q&A.
Great. Well, thank you. That was like captivating. I was thankfully you cued me to put the next stuff up because I was so entranced by what you were showing. It was really, really awesome. If you have any questions, please put them in the question chat. I know Pete, you put one up there, so I'll start with that one.
Yeah, and we also wanted to, if possible, can we stop? Let me stop this, and
Yeah.
we want the audience to also put on your personal experience of what is your the latest hiking trail you have. What's your which one is your favorite mountain? Have you ever been to China? We want to hear from you how you relate to the exhibition, particularly to Chinese culture, to or to this particular exhibitions on the art of mountains. Please type in the chat box so we can share. This is about your experience and how you echo the presentation that we just presented.
Yes, very much so. So last mountain trail or mountain that you visited, have you been to China? I know Pete has, because his question is about that. But you could put that in the chat and we can read those. Jeffrey Bernard says, no questions, only praise for a great presentation. Robert Morbo Morbeck says, we'll always remember the jade burial suit. Yeah, me too. I didn't know anything about those jade burial suits. They're amazing with gold thread. Yeah.
Let's start collect some jade.
Yeah, seriously.
Yes.
My. I loved how you were going to put that in your pension plan.
Yes.
That was good. I laughed out loud. The question, and again, in the chat, put the last time you've been on a mountain trail, your interaction with mountains. If you've been to China, we would love to hear from you. Pete Tannen asked, some of the artifacts in the Dream of the King exhibit reminded me of the Terracotta Army artifacts I saw in Xi'an that I think are from about the same period. Are they related?
Ma Yue and Jeremy, maybe you both can also come here to answer some questions. So is there one specific questions?
So yeah, the question, the Terracotta Army, is it related to the same time period as the what was in the Dreams of the King?
Ma Yue, do you want to? The Terracotta Warrior, I know it's from the Qing Dynasty, right? As we mentioned, the first emperor in Chinese history, Qin Shi Huang. That's one of the great things that people know about him is the Terracotta Warrior. Qing come before Han Dynasty.
Right. So
Nice.
it's before so the Qin period is from 221 to 206 BCE, and after Qin Dynasty will be the Han, so which is so after Qin is from 206 BCE till 220. So these two artifacts are not in the same time periods.
Pretty much, but definitely Qin Shi Huang has started. You can tell like his dynasty didn't really last long. He's famous for his dictatorship, right? And so a lot of people, there's like movies, Assassin, I don't know if you've seen that one. Lots of people trying to kill him because he's just such a tyrant. And So it didn't really last long. But he tried, and one of the reason, kind of the rumor, never been proved, that he was trying to be immortal. So he was like swallowing all types of medicines and drugs, and eventually kill him. So we don't know how he died. Maybe from the assassin, maybe from the drug overdose. But but definitely have the influence, that the idea of afterlife, that definitely have that influence of how he created Terracotta Warrior, and then how the Han Dynasty has all this kind of servant excavated art, that kind of you can see what buried in their tomb is what they believe is going to serve them in their afterlife. Yeah, they are definitely interrelated and influenced by each other. No, like the Han Dynasty influence, the Jesu.
Right. That is I've been dying to go. First of all, I've never been to China, and I don't know if anybody else on this talk has. I had a friend who lived there for 2 years. He taught there, but I never got a chance to go and visit. It's one of my, I don't say I have regrets, but it's one of those things where I was like,
bucket list.
Yeah, definitely.
Put it on the bucket list.
So it's on my list. I personally, I will share my own mountain story, because mountains are actually very important. I grew up on one. Which people don't really associate with me because I'm so tied to New York in my career, but I grew up in New Jersey. We do have mountains in New Jersey. They're not as impressive as the ones in China, but I grew up in the Ramapo Mountains. And so I go home to see my parents. They still live there. My dad and I always go for a hike in Ringwood State Park. And I always say it's my secret sauce. It's like my recharge button. I spend all this time in the city giving tours of the subway and on computers and Grand Central Terminal and Penn Station. And then I go and I get to just sort of like let it all ground me when I go, and me and my dad and I go for a hike. So mountains are very, very important. And those mountains were absolutely beautiful in those photos. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, there's a famous photographer who says you can capture the beautiful image in 3 ways: with your eyes, with camera, which nowadays cell phones, and with your soul.
Yeah.
And I think the power comes from the photographer Wang Wushen really trying to capture the essence with his soul. And then you feel the power just by watching. And so when I take students or the goers who go see these sections, I usually just kind of have a 5 minutes of quiet sections,
definitely.
and for them to stand in front of those amazing photographs, just to feel the connections.
Yeah, extremely meditative. That's what it was about the presentation too. I was like, I almost went into a meditative state watching, those go by, especially in the videos with it was so good, so good, and everybody else seemed to enjoy it as well. Does anybody else have a personal experience they'd like to share? Our group is uncharacteristically quiet today. I think we've entranced them all.
Maybe everybody all in their meditative mode.
They're all in their state. They don't want to leave it. But
yeah, I mean, it's really too bad because of a pandemic. We cannot have the in person. Usually, I also kind of do some Tai Chi in these exhibitis.
Well, we are offering Tai Chi this summer as a virtual course, so we're very excited to do that again. Tai Chi has been a part of China Institute's School of Chinese Studies for many, many years.
So it's virtual?
Yes, it is, and we are limiting it to about 10 participants to make sure that everyone has time for personal attention and adjustments and interactions.
I'm in. I'm in. I was just, I've been trying to do Tai Chi, but not very well, and I need some help. So.
Well, we have, this is actually, we have one of the modern masters. I'll put the link in the chat.
Perfect.
This is called wave hand like clouds. It's one of the most beautiful movements in Tai Chi.
I had just started I found some online courses, and I was just like, oh, this is amazing. And I'd been following a woman who was, I think her name is Effie. Oh, no, I can't think of her name. I was watching her last night, and I know that she's very, Effie Chan, I think it is, who's very instrumental in bringing a lot of Chinese medicine into, Western medicinal awareness. So I'm hooked. I'm totally hooked. All things happen for a reason. All right.
Not true.
People are talking, so let me go. One of my favorite mountains in Switzerland is the Matterhorn. Pete Cannon says, I love its unique shape, carved by multiple glaciers. I've hiked around on its base. Of course, I've seen its image so many times as the Paramount Pictures logo. Right, exactly. And of course, there's a fake one in Disneyland too, Pete, as you probably know.
Yeah.
Sylvia says, thank you. This was very interesting. However, I had an outage in my area for a while. Yes. So, Sylvia, you in a couple of minutes, you'll get a replay of it so you can watch the whole thing again or what you missed. And then also it will be in the Insider's archives.
You just come to China Institute.
Yeah, and well, Sylvia, we also have virtual. Yes, exactly, Lou. But we also have virtual exhibitions, which are online and are in the chat. Sylvia, you can just go to ChinaInstitute.org, and then under the gallery, just look for virtual gallery. You have a ton of virtual exhibits there, and also some online interactive Chinese art exercises for kids.
Cool. And yes, and for those of you who are joining us, you know this chat will remain active and live throughout the replay. So as long as you have the event room up and the screen, which you have access to, you can get access to all of the links that Jeremy has been putting up during the chat, including the summer Tai Chi class. I'm really excited. All right. Well, I think with that, we're at over 1 o'clock. I think we would definitely love as insiders to come to the China Institute when you are ready for us. So whoever contact me, let's make it happen. We'd love to.
Yes, we would love to welcome you. We can have a lot of special experiences, and can't wait to see you for an insider guide, or even just a public program.
Yeah,
or the summer for film.
So definitely, insiders. If you are in New York or in the New York area, you could look forward to that. Or if you are outside of the New York area, you've got tons of virtual options, and hopefully I will be able to maybe bring a little bit of our tour to you when the time comes. Jeffrey Bernard asks, is it open now?
The China Institute is, physically we are going to reopen for some limited in-person programs this summer, mostly our China film series. And for kids, we have our immersive Mandarin summer camp, so they'll be in person. But we are now planning for a big mid-autumn family festival, which will be around the third weekend in September, we're thinking. And that will be where we kind of bring up, kind of cut the ribbon and welcome folks really to, our new auditorium and, all the final completed space on our second floor.
Great. Yeah. So, Jeffrey, think mid-September, and then maybe insiders will
yes, our gallery reopens next fall, but there are plenty of other opportunities that we can talk about and work together. We can't wait to see you.
Great. Well,
thank you, Justin.
Oh yeah, my pleasure. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for taking the time to present to us and to our insiders, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Insiders, thank you very much for joining us today. Next week we are back. I believe it's next Tuesday. We are doing Sitting for Women Photographers, which is the history of women photographers in New York. Very, very interesting. We're back with Catherine Manfield, who had done the Elizabeth Greatorex talk with us. Really, really great. So please join us next week for that at noon. And I think that's all that we've got for today. So thank you all very much. Thank you for coming. I think is it Cynthia or was it Sylvia? Who was having the birthday today? It was Sylvia. Sylvia, happy birthday to you. Thank you for joining us. And thank you all. Have a really great day, guys. Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
谢谢。